How you doing? What's going on? Welcome to Daily Fuel. Welcome to the replay. It's Friday night, which means I will have a little glass of wine. A big glass of wine. You are welcome to join me, assuming you have wine, because you ain't got none of mine. And mostly because you're not here. I mean, if you were here, I'd share, but you're not. So, if you're watching in the replay, then do me a favor and let me know that you are in the replay. I would really appreciate that. It helps me to see who's in the replay, who's watching, who's paying attention, and who's not. I take notes. And and if you're joining live, then you can start commenting. You can comment the whole time that I'm doing my spiel. I have a whole thing written out. Not a script, but just some notes, things to remember, things to talk about, things to hit upon and say. Who's here? It says one person's here. Usually by now there's like 10 or 15 comments going on. And there's one person and they're not commenting and it doesn't even say who it is. Is anybody here? Hello? Hello? Bueller? Is this thing on? Anyway, I'm just going to wait a few seconds to see if anybody else pops in here. It's Kirsten. Hey, Bobby and everyone. There's no everyone. It's just me. It's just me and you. That's it. Nobody else is here, apparently. Happy Friday, your brand. Yeah. Hello, Kirsten. I guess this one will be just for you. I'm sure more people will show up. Is there a hair in my wine? That is really unfortunate. Is there? Or is that just like a weird light? I don't give a shit. We are still at one person? How is this even possible? I don't think this hasn't happened in like, two people. There was one time I did a live. I did a Daily Fuel, and it was on a Friday too, and it was me and Ray, and that was it the whole time. It was just Ray. And I did the live, and she had like one or two comments, and then we were done. She got the booby prize. And that's it. Anyway, you know what? Let's just start. Robin's here too. All right. Hi, Robin. Well, since Robin's here and Kirsten is here, you're my two favorites anyway. Let's just get started. Here we go. 3 people. Let's start. I'm sure more will show up as we get going. Create your brand image. Kirsten, you'll probably appreciate some of the things I'm going to say on this because you'll feel my pain as a graphic designer. You'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, Robin, I have wine. So create your brand image. Let me just start with a little recap. I've done Daily Fuels in the past about branding and your brand. So the way that I talk about brands, here's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking. People tend to think sometimes that oh, I don't need a brand. I'm not like Home Depot or McDonald's or something like that. But everybody has a brand. Whether even people that aren't in business have a brand. A brand is just your reputation. It's what people think about you. It's the energy that you exude and the energy that people give back. And it's what your best customer thinks of you. It's what your favorite client thinks of you. It's what your worst client thinks of you. And the amalgam. When you add everything together, the average of all of those thoughts of what this person thinks and that person thinks, the average of all of them, that makes your brand, right? However, there is one person's thought that supersedes all of them and can actually steer the brand, steer the ship, if the brand or a ship, and to help people think what you want them to think. And that person, of course, is you, the brand owner, the person behind the brand, the entrepreneur. You have a vision for your business, or I hope that you do. And if you don't, start working on one to kind of, it doesn't have to be like a specific thing, but just some idea of where you see your business going and what you want people to think of you. That's your vision. And you create this vision and you mold it over time, and then you help people to see you in that way. And you do that by showing up a certain way, by presenting yourself a certain way, by creating your products or presenting your services or delivering and fulfilling your services a certain way. And then you can also you can also create a brand image. And a brand image is just a set of tools to help you express your brand the way that you want to match your vision so that people see you and think of you the way that you want them to. That's it. That's what a brand and a brand image are. So what are these tools in the brand image? And by the way, there is no right way or wrong way to set up and establish a brand image, except that there's a wrong way. And we're going to talk about what some of the wrong things are today and how not to do them. But really, there's a lot of leeway, and there aren't any set rules like it has to be this, and it has to look like this, and it has to be this color. You get to pick all that stuff. So there are 3 major elements to the brand image. If my number were 5, then I probably would have come up with 5 major elements. But really, there are 3 major elements. And the first is your logo. Now, your logo and your brand are not the same thing. The brand is what people think of you. The logo is the major component of your brand image. It's the representative of you when you aren't there. So people don't get to see you personally. They see your logo on your website or your business card or your whatever, and that's the representative of you. Obviously, your logo is not talking for you, but what it is, when people talk to you, when people meet you, when they shake your hand or do this right with you, then what happens is they get a feeling for you and they interact with you in a certain way. And then when you're not around, when they see the logo, they get that same feeling because they see the logo. They remember interacting with you. They remember what it was like to work with you. They remember what it was like to meet you at that thing where they met you, or to talk to you on the phone. The logo is that representative. So here are a couple of things just to keep in mind about your logo. I've been a logo designer for 100 years, and I've made hundreds of logos for companies. The best ones, just a few simple rules to follow, and here they are. Number 1 is make it simple. It should be pretty simple. It does not have to be an elaborate thing. The simpler, the better, because it's got to come across on a business card. It's got to come across on anything you might print it on. It has to come across on your website, and people are looking at websites and all different size things. So just keep that in mind, that the simpler the logo is, the easier it's going to be to reproduce it on all different kinds of things. A text logo is okay. The simpler the design, the better. The simpler the color scheme, the better. I'm not a big fan of major busy logos, but that's just my style. These aren't rules. These are rules that any good graphic designer could break if they know what they're doing. The problem is that most people aren't good graphic designers, and they break the rules all the time, and it's like, well, that's an unfortunate logo, but it works. You're in business, and nobody's going to not do business with you because they don't like your logo, but it's not going to help either. And the last thing is, I would leave out taglines on a logo. And here's why. A logo is, you don't walk around, hi, I'm Bobby, the blah, 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 blah guy. I'm Bobby, right? And people figure out who I am all the time. I don't walk around with a tagline on my shirt. And the logo represents you. So you don't have to have your tagline on your logo. It's not going to be a painful thing. It's not the end of the world if it's there. Don't go, oh my God, I have a tagline, and run home and fix it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But if you're creating a new logo, I'm not a big fan of taglines on the logo for 2 reasons. It doesn't represent you. It represents what you do. And the other thing is that what if what you do changes later? What if you decide, my tagline says that I do this thing, but now I do this thing too. So now you got to change the tagline or something. The logo should be timeless. You don't ever have to change it unless you're really changing everything about what you're doing. But the most important rule when it comes to the logo, and this one to me is absolutely unbreakable, is that you have to love it. That's it. If you love your logo, then all that other shit I just said goes out the window. I don't care if it's really, really busy, or if it doesn't look good, this big. None of that matters if you love it. Conversely, if you make it so that it's simple and it's perfect and it doesn't have a tagline and it looks good in 2 colors and it looks good on a building and on a business card, but you're just like, whatever about it, then that's not a good logo. It has to represent you. And the reason that I'm saying this is because when you're not around, the logo is the part that carries your energy through. The logo is the part where they see it and they remember what it was like to be around you. And that's your energy. So your logo has to convey your energy. So if something really busy and flashy and tagliney and 75 colors conveys your energy better than those rules that I just laid out, then screw those rules. It's got to convey you. So the only thing I would say is run home and change nothing unless you go, wow, my logo really doesn't convey me at all. I don't even like my logo. Well, then time to redo your logo. All right, that's number one, is your logo. Number two is the colors that you choose to express your business. I'm going to share something on the screen, but not really talk too much about it. A little bit I'm going to talk about it. Crimson shared a really cool article about color theory, and here are just a couple of things, right? I understand this stuff. I understand this stuff. I'm really cool with this stuff when it comes to, say, creating a product. Like these colors here, wherever the hell they are. These colors here were listed by like the different kinds of cars people like to drive. So like people who buy white cars are like bold stuff, and black cars are more powerful, and silver cars are modern, and you can read, right? So these are the kind of thing, but this works true also when it comes to like company corporate identities. A corporate identity, by the way, is also a brand image. But a corporate identity might include many pieces like stationery and fax cover letters and invoicing, and you might have some or a lot of these things as well. Uniforms and the signage in the building and the signage on the vans or the trucks or whatever, all of that builds into like a more corporate identity, is what you would call a brand image for a bigger company. Most of us, I think, are probably single entrepreneurs or maybe a very small team. So just calling it a brand image and keeping to a couple of things is better. When you are making the corporate identity or the brand image for a large company, it might be good to think about, the color scheme you want to convey to people, to subconsciously get into their psychology and make them think, "Ooh, we're stable and we'll use blue," and things like that. But for the single entrepreneur, and especially like the cool artist, I don't worry about any of that shit. I just say, once again, like the logo, make sure you love it. If your favorite color is pink, then make your logo pink and just go with it. Just own it. Just make sure that when people look at it, oh, that's so-and-so. It doesn't have to be like, that's so-and-so, but it makes me kind of feel like she's unstable. Well, maybe you are unstable, and maybe you're just a wacko, then be the wacko and make sure that your logo and the colors that you choose convey that. You want to convey the energy that is true to you. Color is going to really convey energy. So don't worry about the psychology so much behind the color of your logo or your graphic identity. Instead, what color represents me? What's my favorite? You probably have a favorite color or a combination of colors. Go with that. I put blue on everything. The name of my company is Fuel Blue, for crying out loud. Blue is my favorite color. I'm not going to apologize for that. It's there. It's everything I do is within the look at the background of my show, right? Everything is blue. So there's that. You want to convey your energy through the color, and the people who resonate with you personally, they're going to be cool with the colors. So don't worry about that part. That's my opinion on colors. Finally, let's talk about fonts. Fonts are a thing that a lot of people, you know what, and Kirsten, I think this is the part you might be like, oh yeah, fonts, right? Maybe, I don't know, maybe you don't care. Probably not. But anyway, fonts. People don't know how to use fonts. They just don't. They don't know how to use type. They don't know how to use lettering. Everybody thinks more is more. Let me do this headline and 75 fonts and 16 different colors. Please stop doing that. Please stop doing that immediately. Please never do that again. Don't do it again. I'm going to lay out a few rules for fonts. These are rules I highly suggest you follow, unless you know what you're doing, and I guarantee that you probably don't. So follow the rules. Oh, I care about fonts. I know you do, right? Here are the rules about fonts. Really simple to follow, okay? Less is more. Fewer is also more. Okay, fewer fonts. The fewer fonts you need to create your brand image and your identity, the better. One font is fine. Two fonts is probably the maximum number of fonts you should ever use in your entire corporate identity branding system ever. One being for the body of text in most of your little headlines, and the other being for like big splashy headlines. A third font, maybe. I mean, like, you need to like run this by me first, okay? A third font, maybe, if you're going to use it for the big headlines, you know? Or maybe you have a font in your logo that's not really good for headlines on your website and stuff like that. So you've got that font in your logo, and you've got like a similar font maybe that kind of gives the feeling of your logo for your headlines. And then you've got your body text. Now, that's number one for fonts. I'm not kidding around with this, okay? Because the more fonts you use, the harder it is on people's eyes, and then they don't want to read stuff. They will give up. They will just be like, no, I'm not reading this. It's just too weird and it's too hard. Fonts need to be easy to read. If you've got a dark background, they need to be white. If you've got a white background on your website, then they need to be, I'm not a big fan of black. Black on white on a screen can be a little harsh. I usually make them a dark gray. But they need to be readable. So make sure that if you choose fonts with lots of serifs, those are those things that like stick off the sides, those curly cues, and like if you have an A, right? You know what the letter A looks like? Well, you know how like the A might have little feet on the bottom? Those are called serifs. They're fine. You can use serif fonts if you want, but make sure that they're large enough to read, because when you have really tiny serif fonts on a screen this big, it's really freaking hard to read. Have you ever noticed that on Facebook and social media sites and all of that stuff, the fonts don't have those little doohickeys on them? You know why? Because it's easier to read without them. So pick a font that either doesn't have them or is soft enough and easy enough to read on small screens as it is on paper. Man, am I really people's use of fonts just pisses me off. I mean, it's not that hard to do less. It's so much easier to do less. Do you know how hard it is to pick 5 fonts that don't go together and put 74 colors on a piece of paper, and then it's just, why do people do that? I don't understand. Anyway, that's it about fonts. Less is more, fewer is more, easier to read is more. Your fonts should not be the extravagant part of your brand image. They should be the part that conveys information. So just stop. Anyway, that's it for fonts and all of this stuff. I'm going to head over to the comments now and see what Kirsten has to say. And Robin, let me see. Well, not many people today, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. I'm not a drunk, but I like wineroo. Yeah, I like red wine. I'm a red wine fan. I only had like 2 sips of this. The culmination, that's the word. Yes. What was I trying to say? Amalgamation? That's what is an amalgam? What's an amalgamation? Is that even close? I don't even know what that is. The culmination, the consensus. Thank you, Robin. Haley's here. Hi. Hey, sorry, Bobby and everyone. Much love. So tired today. Gonna do the replay. Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it. Oh, you don't hear me. Well, maybe now you're doing the replay, but you don't hear me now. Sola, I'm not actually a ball of sunshine or a bee, but by being sunny and busy, I have fooled you all. Haha. Joking. Sunny is what I want to be remembered by, so it is the energy I focus on. Yeah, I'm a big fan of words like Sola, made up words for branding. I didn't really get into that today, but I'm going to tell you why. Because when you have a name like Sola or Fuel Blue or anything, then you can do anything. That your brand can grow with you and move with you as I want to make soap, I want to do these paintings, I want to do this, and now I've got this new service that I want to do. It's Sola. It's just, what is it? It doesn't matter. But, I don't really see this too much with painters. A lot of you as artists or, you're not all, I was going to say painters, like house painters. I had 2 thoughts in my head at the same time. Artists in general, a lot of you may not even have business name. It might just be your name, which is completely fine. And in that case, your logo even doesn't even have to be a picture. It doesn't have to be an icon. It could just be a font that you choose, a single font that you choose with your name. That's it. Just something easy and elegant, but something that suits you. It could be a flashy font. A logo can definitely be flashy. Readability is not all that important in the logo, but yeah, something like a name like Sola, you could turn that into anything. So good for you. I love that name, by the way. Kirsten. Crimson says, hello, Bobby, and hello, everyone else. That is the correct way to greet me. Thank you, Crimson. Simple is better. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, that's the thing. It's like when you are a novice at something, you should follow the rules, right? It's like when you think of it as being an artist, right? Artists know how to do art, but somebody who's not an artist that wants to paint, it's easier for them to go to one of those paint classes where they're following the direction of the art teacher who's saying, and now draw the water like this, and now draw this shape, and that makes the boat, right? And there's nothing wrong with that because they don't know what the hell they're doing. They wouldn't know how to start or where to begin or anything like that. So just follow the rules and follow along. Or even paint by numbers, right? Is fine. But once you become an established artist and you've got this experience and that experience, then those rules go out the window. I don't paint boats like that. I do this. I don't paint faces like this. I put the nose over here and the two eyes over here because I'm Picasso and that's what I do. But if anybody else did that, it would just be like, what is that? That looks ridiculous. But when artists do it, it's art. We turn it into art, not because we can just do whatever the hell we want to do, but because we understand the rules to the point where we know how to break them and still abide by the essence of them. You know what I mean? A good designer, for example, will know how to break all of the design rules and yet not. Whereas, like I could design something with 5 fonts in it if I had to. I usually wouldn't do that, but if I absolutely had to, I would know how to do it because I understand why using so many fonts is a horrible thing. So I would do it in a way so that it was less horrible. And then I'd probably be like, why are we using 5 fonts? No, we're not doing that. But anyway, you understand what I mean. Whereas somebody who's not a designer would just be like, well, I'll use this font here and this font here and this font here. And I point this out to my daughter all the time. We go to restaurants and especially like some of those, there was one steakhouse that had like the paper menus. And I swear to God, everything on the menu was in a different font or a different color. And we were just staring at the menu for a few minutes, and I looked at her. It's usually me and her that talk about this because she's going to design school to be a graphic designer. And I'd look at her, I'd be like, can you read anything on this menu? She's like, no. I said, do you understand what you're looking at and why this is such a mess? And she would get it. She'd be like, I don't know why they're using so many fonts. I can't focus on anything. I can't figure anything out here. Everything is... Here's what people try to do. They want everything to be splashy. They want everything to be bold. They want everything to be in your face. And when you do that, nothing stands out. Nothing stands out. 1 or 2 things should be in your face. 1 or 2. That's it. Everything else should just kind of be there. And the people will find the thing that they want. What the hell was I talking about? Simple is better. That was it. Kirsten, Doritos logo can be recognized without words. That's key success of a logo. Yeah. Exactly. The best logos are the simplest ones. What does your logo look like, Bobby? It's right here. It's right here. Damn it. That. Now, I know how to break the rules, and I know what I'm doing with my logo. I'm not trying to make something that's going to be on a billboard to advertise to sell a particular product. I'm creating a what's the word? I'm creating I can't think of the word for what I'm creating. You threw me for a loop, Robin. I'm creating something that is like it's an extension of me. You know, I'm creating it. Really, my logo is me. You can't get there is nowhere that you're going to go and see that without seeing this. You know what I'm saying? It's like I am everywhere in my thing. And what I'm doing is I am the product. And so I'm breaking all the rules. But don't use me as an example for what to do. What does your look? I read that already. Just curious. But on my website, it's that exact logo, but it says Fuel Blue. I use the same imagery for both. Fonts matter. Yes, they do. Oh, I care about fonts. Did I say that? I read that before. No Comic Sans unless it's a comic book. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Any ebook format doesn't allow serif fonts. That's interesting. I didn't even know that. That's cool. Thanks, Melinda, for that little bit of knowledge. Appreciate that. Kirsten says, best practice, combine a serif and sans serif when selecting two fonts, or two sans serifs, but do not use two different serifs. That is very good advice. The probably, in my opinion, the best way to go for most modern looking brands would be two serif fonts, or even one serif font but different weights for the headings. The reason why you would want two different kinds of fonts is you would want one for the body text and one for headings, like headlines, the different headings on your website, or headings in PDFs and stuff that you make. I like a sans serif font, a simple font for the body, because to me it's a little easier to read. Sometimes with a cool modern looking serif font as the headline. The other way also works just fine. However, she's right. Two serif fonts, what happens is you have, it's like two different decorating styles, because the serifs are decorations. So when you have two different serif fonts, now you've got two different decorating styles that are competing with each other. It's like having it's like having all different Christmas lights all over the place. It's just ridiculous. Don't do it unless you really know what you're doing. Chances are you don't. So yeah, that's a really good rule of thumb. And by the way, if your thing's not modern, if you're trying to I would never suggest modern looking fonts or that kind of feel for somebody like Hector, for example, with his steampunk stuff. He's got to have a really cool font that goes with the steampunk look. So for him, a really interesting display font for his headings might be the way to go. However, he wouldn't want to use a display font for all the text on his website. That's just way too hard to read. Display fonts are the wacky looking fonts, you know what I mean? Even then, I don't like using display fonts for every header, because you'll have headers for different size things. So maybe just the titles of stuff are in the display font, and then everything else is in the body font, just different sizes and then I could get into different sizes. Like then people, I can only use one font. Fine. Well, I'll use it italic here, and I'll use it this big and this big and this big and this big and this big. No. But then you stick to like two sizes. All right. You got to less is more with fonts. Literally less is more. All right. It's not one of those. It's literally. I cannot stress this enough. Okay, Crimson, I just need to find someone to do this stuff for me. Outsource 101. I find this stuff so tedious and just blah. Yeah, I hear you. You could talk to, I don't know what you want to do, but you could talk to Victoria. I don't know what Kirsten's doing these days, but you can talk to Victoria. She's around on Daily Fuel sometimes. She's in the group. If you can message me about that, Crimson, if you want. I need to make business cards and I'm at a standstill. Yeah, you need a layout designer. That's so I should use just one font, Bobby. Ideally, I would say to everybody, if you could figure out how to do it with one font, that you can't go wrong. Nobody's going to look at it and be like, you know what I mean? It's just, people are going to look at, here's the thing about design, right? Design is rarely, if ever, a good design shouldn't be like in your face. A good design conveys information, okay? So if you looked at somebody's brand image and you looked at their website, you looked at this, you looked at that, yeah, there are going to be cool elements and you might like the photography and you might like the layout and things like that. But when it came to the fonts, nobody's ever going to look at it and say, wow, they used so many fonts and it just blew me away. Like a lot of times what would happen is they're going to walk away from it and not like it. But most people aren't going to know why they don't like it. I don't know. It just didn't hit me. You know, when you're using 15 different fonts in a website or a print thing or whatever, hardly anybody, unless they're a designer, is going to look at it and be like, why are they using so many fonts? I don't approve of this. I don't like this. It's hard for me to read, so I'm going to leave. They're just going to get the sense that there's just something amiss here. I don't know what it is, and maybe it's the company. Maybe I just don't like this person. Maybe I just don't like to work with people like this. I don't even know what it is, but something is striking me as odd. And they'll just be like, so I'm just going to move on. And it's because you got 15 fonts on your website. But nobody's going to look at a one font website and think, this isn't fonty enough. You know what I mean? They're just not going to do that. They're just going to get the information, and they're going to get your energy from the tone of voice. They're going to get your energy from the imagery. They're going to get the energy from watching your videos. And the fonts are just going to get out of the way. They're just a tool to deliver information. That's it. There are exceptions to these rules, but you got to know what you're doing. And if you don't, then don't even try, because the font thing will mess everybody up. Wow. Okay. I guess I feel a conundrum. For various reasons and at various times, I have several different types of name things. Early logo was for my hand-painted silk scarves and hoped for future fashion design, which wasn't followed through. Was designs by Robin. My Zazzle site somehow was hard to set up, so it was under the name Robin Murray Design. And my artwork post is Robin Lynn Murray, so I think there may be too many different names for me by default. My business cards, because they're fairly newest, are under my complete name because of my artwork background as Robin Lynn Murray, and for various reasons I kind of like them all. So what do I do? Am I doing things wrong, or is it okay to leave those as is? Confusion. Yeah, so what you're saying is you're doing things under various different names. If it were me, honestly, I would try to consolidate it under one name. You know, I would. It can be confusing. However, I feel your pain, because Fuel Blue is the name of my company, and yet the name of this thing that I'm creating here is Quantasy. And I have actually been grappling with myself as to whether or not to just split Fuel Blue and Quantasy and make Quantasy its own company and just brand it as Quantasy completely and completely separate from Fuel Blue. However, the reason I don't do that is because Fuel Blue is also my music and the movie, the comic, graphic novel thing that I'm working on, and it's like, it's all, to me, in my mind, it's all under one roof. I might say I would do this if I were you, and then I'm going and doing this. So I don't really know, Robin, what the best answer for you is. It's not like it's not like a broad stroke painting. However, if maybe but then you look at a company like, say, Apple. It's Apple, but I don't call my computer an Apple computer. I call it a Mac, because they have Macs, and they also have iPhones, and they also have iPads, and there's also Apple TV and an Apple Watch, and you know what I mean? So it's like they have different. So so what I'm thinking of is, I have Fuel Blue the company, and then I have Fuel Blue the movie and the music, and I have Quantasy the program, and so there are two different sub themes within the main brand of Fuel Blue. So I don't know. I mean, you might want to consider it that I have, Robin Murray Designs for this thing. I have Robin Lynn Murray. And by the way, none of your things are all that different. That Designs by Robin and also Robin Murray Design and Robin Lynn Murray. That's all. They all start with Robin. They all have Robin in it. So you're just Robin. Don't overthink it. Don't kill yourself about it. You know what I mean? I think you're doing just fine. Just use one font for all of them. Learn the rules so you know how to break them. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like Melinda, you would probably know that when it comes to filmmaking and stuff like that. You probably see other people's videos and you could just see them doing everything. Imagine somebody gets iMovie for the first time and they make a 5-minute video with 57,000 different kinds of transitions in it, and you go, oh my God, right? Because a real director would never do that. A real director would probably just use some mostly straight cuts, and and then that's that. But then eventually you know how to break the rules, and you know how to do things that are a little more artsy, but they fit because you know what you're doing. Redesign rules. About design rules. I know every time I do these, my designs that are smack square in the middle of the frame exactly equal on both sides. Cardinal rule. Well, that's one way to go. There's nothing wrong with that, but you don't have to do that. You could also, follow the rule of thirds, where you have, if you imagine a screen, right? So you have this whole screen here. Now imagine two lines going down and breaking it into three sections, and then two lines going across, breaking it into three sections. So now you have 9 sections, right? Well, where those lines intersect, like right here, no, I can't do this. right here and here, and then also like here and here. You could put like the main items. Here I am right in the center because this is a talking head kind of video. But if this were more of like a documentary filmy thing where I was talking to multiple cameras, I'd probably frame it where I was more over here. You know what I mean? And then I'd have something over here that kind of balanced me. There are different ways to do it. You can design in different ways. But because this is more of a talking head thing, and I'm also in an enclosed space, I just do it like this. Don't kill yourself on this stuff. If smack dab in the middle works, like a Wes Anderson movie, everything is just right down the middle all the time, it works. It's fine. OMG, I was at a restaurant the other day and the menu was in all caps. Oh my God. I could not focus. I got mad because I couldn't retain it. I'm a menu snob. Yeah, all caps is another thing where you really have to know what the hell you're doing with all caps. I use all caps. I like all caps for my headings. But because I choose fonts that I feel are more readable, and you see this font over here, all right? I use this font for like the graphic headings, the ones that I put in my graphics, and I use it here on the Daily Fuel thing. Because I have like maximum of 6 or 7 words at a time. This font is readable enough. If this were more like what, Kirsten's comment here, notice how this is a sans serif, much simpler font. This is like Helvetica or something like that. It's either Arial or Helvetica. So you know what I'm saying? It's something like that. And but I do it in all caps because that's the aesthetic that I'm going for my brand. But if you don't need all caps, don't use all caps. You got to know what you're doing with all caps. Cardinal rule. Never center your main design or focus smack square in the middle. But it happens all the time in my designs, but I see enough interest in them, in my opinion, that I break those rules all the time. Are you talking about your digital designs? But your digital designs are cool, and the smack dab in the center, like the symmetry of them, to me is part of the allure. It's part of the appeal. I wouldn't overthink that, and I wouldn't worry too much about it, because I feel them successful, in my opinion only. I post them despite them. No, I don't think it's just your opinion. I don't think anybody is saying, this is a really cool digital abstract design you've created here, but I would prefer it if you followed the rule of thirds or what's that squiggly line thing called? I forgot it. It's right on the, whatever. The thing that starts over here and then like goes and then it gets like that, what is that called? Damn it, I can't think of what that's called. It would be nice if I had these things on the tip of my tongue. God, I'm late. Hey, everyone, especially Bobby. It's okay if you're late as long as you do the correct reading. We're cool. Crimson, hey, girl, you can always talk to me. Yeah, okay, talk to Kirsten about graphic design. She's a professional graphic designer. Melinda, hey. Hey, who are you saying hey to? Fonts are so much, you could almost do a whole Daily Fuel on them. They can be a lot to them. Yeah, but nah. I love fonts, but I love working with them. I'll talk about them in the context of all of this stuff, but I don't know. I don't like it. Graphic designer's favorite line. I don't like it. It's really... You're talking about when people say that about your design? Yeah. Have you ever watched the documentary Helvetica? No, I did not. I have a list of things that that's on my list, and that show Abstract on Netflix is on my list. and I never get around to it. Donna, this stuff is so not my genius zone. Yeah, that's okay. It's Fuel Blue is you. Yes, Fuel Blue is me. It's almost like my nickname. It's like I am Fuel Blue, which is why I'm not going to separate the two. I think about it every once in a while, and then I go, nah. Quantity is a product that I make as Fuel Blue. It's almost like that's why my music project, it's just called Fuel Blue. It's not even Bobby Dunn. It's Fuel Blue. And the character in my movie is Fuel Blue. That's his name, and it's me. It's who I am. And I break a lot of rules. You see this logo? Damn it. You see this logo? This is like my 75th logo since I started my company. I redesign my logo all the time. I rebrand myself, but I know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not trying to maintain some consistency to keep. I'm also changing. I've changed my audience a few times as well, but I'm not trying to build some stable brand that's going to be Microsoft and never change for 150 years. It's not like I'm trying to create JP Morgan Chase over here, and in the year 2400 it's still going to be the same name and logo. I don't give a shit. If next year I want to do I got this great idea, I'm going to change it to that. You know what I mean? It's just because I've just decided I know what I'm doing. And I'll make it work on the fly. Just Robin. Just Robin is cool, Robin. If you just called it Robin, Oh, wait, do you mean quote Just Robin? Just Robin. Hi, designs by Just Robin. I'm rolling on the floor laughing, except it's a good idea. Consider it. Don't do it just because we said it or she said it, but it is a cool idea, You have to think about it. Here's an idea. Rob, before I get to your thing, Melinda, hang on. I wanna pay attention to that. I don't know if you know this story. So when I started my company, I quit my job and I started my own company, and I was like, I'm starting a company, and I was gonna do websites, and I just called it Virtual Sites Graphic Design. That was the first name I came up with, and I was like, that's cool, and I called it that. And it was that for 2 years, right? And I was like, but I also do logos, and I feel like virtual site. This just sounds dumb. I didn't like that name, and I was really calling it VSGD. It was just VSGD. It was just the initials at one point, and I was like, this doesn't mean anything to me. I don't get it. And I was looking at all these big agencies, and I had this idea that what if I were like a big agency? So I called it Donahue Studios, and I made up a very corporate-looking whole identity package around the name Donahue Studios. And that lasted about a week, and my wife was like, not more than that, but my wife was like, that is not you. You're cool, you're flashy, you're not stuffy and corporate. I was like, I know, I don't know what I did here. So she said, you should invent a word. You should make up your own word. And that's what I did. And I came up with the word Fuel Blue. I went through this whole process, how I made it, doesn't matter, right? But I came up with the word Fuel Blue, and as soon as I had that word, I was like, that's me. That's if I were a thing, my name would be Fuel Blue. That would be me. I am Fuel Blue. It's not like a name that I call this part of me. It's me. And it's been Fuel Blue ever since, but I've had different logos for it. I've had different ideas for it. I've had even different avenues of pursuit of what I wanted to do, but it was always called Fuel Blue. So if you feel, Robin, that your thing is Robin Lynn Murray Designs or Designs by Robin or whatever it is, if you feel that one of them has the energy that really is you, even if it's just Robin. Robin is could be a cool person. RLM Designs could be something a little bit more corporate and it depends on what you want to be seen as and who you want to work with, and that's it. When I landed on Fuel Blue, I just felt it. I just knew it. So if you're thinking, I don't know, it's this, it's that, blah, 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 then you haven't felt it yet. You haven't found it yet. Find it. Transition for absolutely no reason. Yeah, right. The weird, the spirally page thing. Right? It's like, why? Why do they even put that in iMovie? It's just like, people are going to use it and go, oh, why are you making me watch that? Don't worry about it. You're just Robin. Does overthink it. Yeah. It's okay. We all I'm Mr. Overthinker. Don't beat yourself up for that. I was thinking of art classes. I was taught not to center stuff. That's all. Yeah, no, I know. Sometimes it makes sense. And I think with the digital work that you do, the way that you do it makes a lot of sense. That's my dog. Kirsten, negative space is a beautiful place. Don't forget to use it to guide the eye. Yeah, negative space is a wonderful thing. That was actually the name of my first rock band, was called Negative Space. That was my idea because I was in art school at the time. We went by that name for one show, and then we changed the name because we were like, well, that's an interesting name, but we didn't want to keep it. Kirsten, oh my God, Osh, I can imagine what a mess. What? I don't know what she said. Okay. Golden Spiral. The Golden Spiral. Yes. Thank you. I see Quantasy as a movement. Yeah. Quantasy is not me. Quantasy is a movement that I feel like I'm guiding, I'm creating, I'm whatevering. I don't know what I'm doing. Right. But Fuel Blue, that's me. I'm Fuel Blue. Thanks, Melinda. LOL, Robin's Hood. Like that. That's cool. Robin, like Madonna. Yeah, why not, right? Madonna. Or J-Lo. Or Whoopi. One name. Sure, why not? Go for it. Own it. Be it. So question, how do I incorporate my Facebook name with my real name in my business? What are the two names? I don't know what they are. I just know you as Crimson. I don't know. What's your Facebook? Do you mean like is Crimson Rose not your real name? You know, I don't know. Everyone on social media knows my ego, but not my real name. Okay, so Crimson Rose is your ego, but not your real name. So what? So to that I say, so what? You know, Robin, I skipped a couple of years. I'll go back. To that I say, so what? You don't need to be. Who's Banksy? Nobody even knows who he is. You know, there's a really cool artist, AWOL Nation, a singer. I don't know his name, but that's like his moniker, and he's a solo artist. Yeah, he's got a band behind him, but it's not the band's name; it's his name. You know what I mean? It's not important. You can incorporate it. You can let let's say you made a website and just called it Crimson Rose, and that was it, right? And you could be like, "Hi, I'm whatever your real name is," you know, and you could put that in there. But I know you as Crimson Rose, but that doesn't make me like you any less because I don't know the birth name that you have. You know, it doesn't matter to me. I know you and I like you, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? We tend to overthink things. We tend to make more out of them than anybody else does. I'll sit here and I will worry over Fuel Blue, Quantasy, where do they fit? How do they go together? And nobody else gives a shit. You know what I mean? Nobody cares. So who cares? Really, literally, who cares? Do whichever you want. Let people know your real name. Make it a part of the whole thing. I could have called it Fuel Blue by Bobby Donahue. You know, when you go to, I don't call myself Fuel Blue. You know, I'm not sitting here like, hey guys, it's me, Fuel Blue. I don't do that. But I think of Fuel Blue as me. You know what I mean? And so, you know, but when you go to my website, I've even thought of it. It's like, how come it's not BobbyDonahue.com? It's FuelBlue.com. I didn't really make it my name. I didn't make it about my name. I made it about Fuel Blue because that's the energy behind that name. You know what it is? Let's think of it like a logo and the colors. You want to choose the logo. You want to choose the colors. You want to choose the font. Let's make number 4, the name. What is the name that has the energy that really drives your brand? That when people hear that name, when people say that name, the energy of what you really want comes out. Is it your birth name? Is it your full name with all 3 words? Is it one word? Is it your Facebook moniker? Is it a made up word that you came up with? Who cares? You have to care. As long as it makes sense for you and you say, when I say this word and when the people around me say this word, it has this energy. To me, Fuel Blue and Bobby Donahue, they go hand in hand. They're interchangeable. It doesn't matter to me which one you call me. Well, except don't call me Fuel Blue. It's not literally my name. You know what I mean? But that's how I've set it up. I've set it up so that it works for me. You get to choose how it works for you. There's no rule. You can't get it wrong. The only way you could get it wrong is if it doesn't work for you. Because you're trying to make, well, people are going to think that's weird, so I'm not going to do that. Now it doesn't work for you, and you have gotten it wrong. If you get it right and you make it so that it works for you, then the only people who are going to care are the people who love you. And they're going to be like, that's fucking cool. I love it. And then you did it right. You get it? Let's go back to Robin's that I skipped. Kirsten Moore, absolutely. Quantasy is a concept. Yeah, Quantasy is a concept. You're absolutely right. Thank you. A movement, a concept. I like it. Artwork by Crimson Rose of company name. There is no right or wrong way to do it, Crimson. You have to pick it. My business name is my initial CMS Creative, Mind and Soul. Oh, okay. That's not wrong either. There's nothing wrong with anything that you do, as long as it fits you. You know, like my business name was Donahue Studios until my wife and I were just like, this name does not fit you. It doesn't fit me. I'm not some guy in a corporate suit in the corner office, 23rd Lexington Avenue, some marketing agency. It's not me. So why am I Donahue Studios? I changed it to Fuel Blue, and that's that. If CMS Creative, Mind and Soul works for you, stick with it. If Crimson works for you, go with that. Whatever works. It's just whatever makes you go, oh, that's it. I love that. You have to love it. You have to love your logo. You have to love your colors. You have to love the name. You have to love it. Love, 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 love. That's the key. What's the right name? The one you love. What's the right logo? The one you love. All the other things, except for fonts. I don't care that you love 15 fonts. You're wrong. Okay? My mom's website domain is her name, but her company is Glassified. I find it really hard to find her business unless I Google her business name. I forget the domain because I think it should be her business name. Yeah, your domain name is another story. Your domain name should really go along with your business name as best you can. You know, if your chosen domain name is taken, you know, like I'm just going to be Robin. Well, Robin.com is probably not available, but it could be. Who knows? But you know, maybe Robin's Art or Art by Robin, or you know, like RobinArt.com is available. So just make it the name with something else, so that it still goes together. You know, but that's why it's like I'm not going to go under the moniker of Fuel Blue and then have it at BobbyDonahue.com, because people aren't going to think about that. They're not even going to recognize it when they see it. Kirsten, good point. Thanks for that one. Thanks so much. This has been helpful. You're welcome. Crimson, this is your name. CS is your real initial. Crimson Rose, this is your name. CS, is your real initial. Kirsten Moore, yeah. Are you asking her that or telling her that? I'm not sure. Anyway, she says yes. So you guys agreed on that. Okay, good. My art is my birth name. Everything else has a different name. Thriving Creatively Productions, Seasons of Cancer, Tattered Memories. Well, then again, you can think of it the way I think of Quantasy and Fuel Blue. It's like maybe you have my art is my birth name. You're Melinda Baum, right? And you have these things that you offer, you know. Apple has Macs and iPads and iPhones. Melinda has Thriving Creatively Productions, Seasons of Cancer, Tattered Memories. I have to read them, right? That's perfectly fine. You can have brand lines under them. Totally fine. And if you know what you're doing, you can use different fonts and colors for the different ones. But don't. Robin, I loved Designs by Robin, but it was not. I wanted to get the domain a long time ago, but it was taken. I would have had to put a bazillion numbers after it if I wanted it. So, oh my God. I gotta go. Let's be done. Oh, Robin. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Robin, you have the booby prize as of now. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys later. Oh, Melinda jumps. Oh, you guys, your laughter, Bobby, is contagious. Well, thank you. And Melinda gets the booby prize. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. And bye-bye.